So after learning so many things comes the next concept, classification of costs. What do you mean by classification of costs? Simple, my dear friends. Here we are bifurcating the cost based upon the nature. Bifurcation of costs based on nature is called as classification of cost. Say, for example, in your class, let us assume that there are 50 students. In these 50 students, I'm classifying them as boys, girls. There are 50 students. I'm classifying them as rich in studies, average in studies, poor in studies. Okay, there are 50 students in the class. I'm classifying them as hostelers, day scholars. There are 60 students in the class. I'm classifying how many of them are local, how many of them are non-local. See, in 60, 50 to 60 students of class, this many classifications are possible. Then of course, in costing also so many classifications are possible, right? We have already seen two types of classifications, my dear friends. That is, if you see, I have taught you element wise classification. That is also a type of classification. We have seen element wise, it is divided into three parts, right? That is material, labor, and expenses. This is also one type of classification. This is also a part of one type of classification, though we have studied it under what we call elements of costing. It is also a type of classification. Okay, next. Now let us see the next few other types of classifications what we have in our syllabus. Okay, now first type of classification what we have is on basis of nature slash element. On basis of nature slash element, we have already completed this type of classification. On the base of nature as element, we can classify the costs into three parts. That is material, labor, and expense. Material, labor, and expense. We have already discussed this, so I'm not discussing it again. Okay, so on the basis of element wise classification, I can classify them into three types, right? Now, next type of classification. Now, next type of classification is important classification, my dear friends, on the basis of activity or volume. Second type of classification on basis of activity or volume. Now, what do you mean by classification on the basis of activity or volume? It's quite simple thing. On the basis of activity or volume, I can divide the total cost into three parts: fixed cost, variable cost, and semi-variable cost. Now try to understand what I want to say here. Here, what we are doing, here we are dividing cost on the base of behavior with output. What do you mean by output? What do you mean by activity? Activity or volume? Volume means output, right? So in costing, activity, volume, output, all the three words are synonymous. So division of cost on the basis of their behavior with output. So division of cost on the basis of their behavior with output, we call it as activity or volume wise classification. Here I can divide them into total three different parts. So what are those three different parts? How I can divide them? I can divide them as fixed cost. I can divide them as fixed cost. I can divide them as variable cost, and I can divide them as semi-variable cost. These are three classifications what I can give them based upon their classification with respect to output. Now let's discuss what is fixed cost, what is variable cost, what is semi-variable cost. Now try to understand, my dear friends. Fixed cost is something which changes with output. So if it does not changes with output, irrespective of output, it will remain same. Say for example, rent and salary. Okay. Now if you produce more output, will you pay more rent? Or will you go, landlord will come and say, hey, come on, you made more sales this year, pay me more output, or pay me more rent. He will say, no, he will not say.
No,
No, sir.
Yeah, variable cost is something which changes with output. If there are more number of students in the class, I should issue more number of study materials. If there are less number of students in the class, I have to issue less number of study materials. This is called as variable cost. Example, raw material. The cost which changes with the output is called as variable cost. The cost which does not change with the output is called as fixed cost.
fixed cost.
These all points you know. Now I'll tell you a new point. Listen. These all points you already know, right? Let me tell you a new point now. Example, I am saying fixed cost is equals to 1 lakh. Okay. Next, I am saying variable cost is equals to 10 per unit. Fixed cost is equals to 1 lakh. Variable cost is equals to 10 per unit. Now, I gave you production. Production. First case, I am producing 2000 units. Second case, I am producing 4000 units. Third case, I'm producing 10,000 units. Okay. So this is the production information what I have. Now, why I'm taking these things? Let's see. First, in all these three cases, first let us see fixed cost. What I said you, irrespective of output, fixed cost is going to remain the same. Irrespective of output, fixed cost is going to remain the same. So it's going to be 1 lakh in this case. It's going to be 1 lakh in this case. It's going to be 1 lakh in this case. So irrespective of output, fixed cost is going to remain the same. Now let's compute fixed cost per unit. Fixed cost per unit. How will you compute fixed cost per unit? Total fixed cost divided by number of units. 1 lakh divided by 2000. 50
50.
per unit. Next, 1 lakh divided by 4000. 25 per unit. 1 lakh divided by 10,000, which is 10 per unit. Can you observe this point carefully, my dear friends? As the production is increasing, what is happening to fixed cost per unit? Fixed cost per unit is decreasing, right? As a production decreasing, fixed cost per unit is increasing. This is the analysis point what I want you to understand. Okay. So in fixed cost, if you see it on the basis of totality, you see it on the basis of totality. Okay. Let the output increase or let the output decrease. Fixed cost will remain same. If it is on per unit basis, if it is on per unit basis, if output increases, fixed cost decreases. If output decreases, fixed cost increases. Okay, this is on per unit basis and this is on totality basis. This is where the testing happens in the examination. The general point is fixed cost is constant, but exception point is per unit basis. Okay, this is on totality basis, this is on per unit basis. What are examples of fixed costs? Rent, salary, etc. All these are examples of fixed cost. Next, now let's compute variable cost. How much is variable cost? 10 per unit, right? So what is 2000 into 10? 2000 into 10 is somewhere around 20,000 rupees. Here it is 40,000. Here it is 1 lakh. Then what about VCPU, variable cost per unit? 20,000 divided by 2000 is 10 per unit. 40,000 divided by 4,000 is 10 per unit. 1 lakh divided by 10,000 is 10 per unit. Means what's happening? Variable cost per unit is constant. However, total variable cost is fluctuating. if you see on the basis of totality, if you see on the basis of totality, as the output increase, variable cost also increases. As the output decreases, variable cost also decreases. If you see on per unit basis, what's happening, my dear friends? As the output increase or as the output decrease, irrespectively, variable cost is same. Okay, variable cost is same. It is not changing. So what are the examples of variable cost? Raw material is the best example for variable cost. Is it clear, everybody, these 2 points? Variable cost behavior on totality, variable cost behavior on per unit basis. Fixed cost behavior on totality, fixed cost behavior on per unit basis. Is it clear, everybody? Shall we proceed further? Yes. Now, you have seen regarding fixed cost, you have seen regarding variable cost. Now, let's go ahead and let's try to analyze regarding semi-variable cost. Now, what is the semi-variable cost? Semi-variable cost is something which is partly fixed and partly variable. If it is partly fixed and partly variable, it is called as semi-variable cost. So what you're talking? Simple, my dear friends. Let us take this electricity cost. If you take electricity cost, what happens to electricity cost? What happens to electricity cost? On till particular units, it will be 3 per unit. If you use more than this, it will become 5 per unit. Then beyond that capacity, it will become 7 per unit. Okay, means till some particular level it was fixed, later it is increasing. Till it is fixed, it is increasing. Okay, this is called as semi-variable cost. As the word itself says, semi-variable. It is partly variable, partly fixed. This cost is partly variable and partly fixed. Say, for example, the cost per unit of electricity will be rupees 4 up to 3000 units and rupees 7 up to 5000 units and rupees 15 up to 10,000 units. And what's happening? Up to 3000 units, it is fixed at 4 per unit. Beyond 3000 units, it is increasing to 7 per unit, but it is fixed at 7 per unit till 5000 units. Beyond 5000 units, it is fixed at 15 per unit till 10,000 units. Means at a particular point of time, it is fixed, it is increasing, it is fixed, it is increasing, it is fixed. So this type of costs are called as semi-variable costs. So total how many types of costs you have? 3 types of costs you have: fixed cost, variable cost, semi-variable cost. Fixed cost is fixed irrespective of output. Variable cost, which fluctuates with which fluctuates with production. Semi-variable cost, something which is fixed till one particular level, which later increases, fixed, increases, fixed, increases. Now, my dear friends, now try to understand. Do you include rent in raw material cost? Do you write rent in trading account? Tell me one thing. In your accounts, do you write rent in trading accounts? Rent, salary paid, insurance. Will you write these things in the trading accounts?
Also, will write in P&L account.
You are perfect. You will not write in trading account. You will write in P&L account. Why you write in P&L account? It is quite simple. Closing stock comes under trading account, right? So when you're calculating closing stock, you are not including any fixed cost in clothing stock. Clothing stock is also called as inventory. Okay, clothing stocks and opening stocks are called as inventories. In these inventories, you are not including any fixed expenses. Okay, you are not including any fixed costs. Okay, so if you see, my dear friends, so fixed costs are not part of inventory valuation. They change not with the production, but they change with the time. They don't change with the production, rather they change with the time. Try to understand. Fixed cost does not form, doesn't form part of inventory, comma, and change with the time. So they are also called as they are also called as period costs. Since they change with time and not change with inventory, we call it as period costs. Next, variable costs. Variable costs form part of inventory. Part of inventory valuation. Part of inventory valuation. Where you'll write inventory, where you'll write closing stock, you'll write in balance sheet, right?
Trading account credits.
And even balance sheet also. Don't forget. Trading account credit side,
Yes,
balance
sir.
sheet asset side. Okay. So variable costs form part of inventory valuation and are called as product costs and become part of balance sheet unless and until they are sold. Unless and until they are sold. Quite beautiful topic, right? So this is regarding classification of cost on the base of activity or volume. Not yet completed, my dear friends. Fixed cost I can further bifurcate into 4 parts. So with theory, it's okay. Listen, there's no issue. Further bifurcation of fixed cost. Classification of fixed cost. Simple. I'll summarize it in one point. Listen, instead of studying very big, huge CMA material, it's better to listen to the points what I'm saying. Classification of fixed cost. Just go to the examination with what I'm teaching you in the class. It's more than enough to secure 20 marks out of 20 marks. Nothing is required other than this. Classification of fixed cost. We have 4 types of fixed costs. First type of fixed cost is committed fixed cost. Next is policy and managed cost. Third one is discretionary fixed cost. Next one is step fixed cost. Now, what do you mean by committed fixed cost? Committed fixed cost is a fixed cost which is paid because of some commitments. Okay, there are some commitments because of which you are paying this fixed cost. The management does not have any discretion here. They cannot say that particular period I will not pay this fixed cost. No, landlord owner will not agree. He'll kick you. He'll kick you and he'll send out. Okay, the same thing happened during lockdown periods. Many people did not pay. They treated it as discretionary fixed cost, because of which many people had to set down their businesses. Committed fixed costs. These fixed costs are paid because of some commitments. Why you will pay rent, my dear friends? You will pay rent because there is a commitment for you in the name of an agreement called as rental agreement. Because of this rental agreement, there is There becomes a commitment on you. That's the reason you pay the fixed cost. Okay. Example, rent. You will pay rent because of some rental agreements. Paid because of commitments. Paid because of commitments. No discretion is available to management here. Example, rent. Next, policy and manager cost. This cost is incurred, this fixed cost is incurred because of some management decisions implemented due to management decisions. Say, for example, take ISFS. In ISFS, every employee has an insurance policy, health insurance policy. This insurance policy is taken care by ISFS people itself. Okay, that's nothing but if you go to other organizations, we don't have this health insurance. This health insurance is given especially by the ISFS people itself. They take the burden of this health insurance. If they want, they could have avoided this. Every month, they must pay certain fixed amount of money to the insurance company to maintain our insurance agreement with them. So this is something which is paid because of some management commitment to the insurance company. There's no, if you go to other institutions where the same CA classes are taught, no such facilities available to the faculties over there. That's nothing but this is a policy and manager cost. This type of decision is taken by management because of which they are incurring this cost. Okay, so this is called as policy and managed cost. Basically it is incurred for the purpose of beneficial to give some benefits to the employees. In order to provide some benefits to employees, this is given. Actually this type of cost is associated with the employees. Cost associated with employees. Discretionary fixed cost. The cost which can be avoided if management wants to avoid is called as discretionary fixed cost. Cost incurred by the decision of management, by the decision of management, which otherwise can be avoided. Can I say policy and management cost is a discretionary cost? Yes, my dear friends. Policy and management cost is discretionary cost. If they want, they could have avoided that. Policy and manager cost. Yes, it's a discretionary cost. Step fixed cost. Step fixed cost is like semi-variable cost only. What is semi-variable cost? It is fixed to some extent. It will increase. It increases to some extent. Sorry, it is fixed to some extent and it increases. Right? It is semi-variable cost. The same way with the step fixed cost also. Semi-variable cost, you have seen it from the angle of variable cost. Step fixed cost, you see it from the angle of fixed cost. It is fixed to some extent, it will increase later on. It is fixed to some extent, it is increases later on. It is fixed to some extent, it increases later on. It is called a step fixed cost. Example, my dear friends, go down rent. Your go down capacity is 10,000 kgs. But now, because of too much demand in the market, you require a raw material of 15,000 kgs. Where you will keep this extra 5,000 kgs? Will you keep on your head? No, you must take extra go down. Okay, so that go down will be sufficient for 10,000 kgs. Okay, though you are having demand only for 5,000, but you have to take one more go down, right? Means to some extent it is constant till 10,000 kgs. The rent is constant. Take one more floor, it will zoom increase. Again, it will remain constant. Again, you want one more floor, again it will increase. Semi-variable cost is from the angle of variable cost, while step fixed cost is from the angle of fixed cost. Okay, so this is your second classification. What is second classification? Classification on the basis of activity or volume. Don't worry, from now onwards classifications will be small only first two classifications are big. Next, third classification. Oh, yeah, black pen only I'm writing, right? Third classification. On basis of normality. On basis of normality, my dear friends, I can divide the cost into two parts. What are the two parts where I can divide the cost? I can divide the cost into normal cost and abnormal cost. Normal cost and abnormal cost. What is normal cost? What is abnormal cost? Normal cost is the cost which is incurred in the process of production. Okay, it is something which is incurred at any level of output. We call it as normal cost. Say, for example, let us assume your mother asked you to boil the milk. You went, you took 2 liters of milk, you kept on the stove, you started boiling the milk, boiling completed. 250 ml got evaporated. Now, will your mother scold, hey, useless fellow, I gave you 2 liters to boil the milk. You brought only 1.75 liters? You illegitimate fellow, you useless fellow. Will your mother scold? No, she will not scold. Why she will not scold, my dear friends? Because that is a normal thing. It's going to happen everywhere. Not only you, if anybody boils the milk, it is going to happen. Next, abnormal cost. Cost incurred due to your negligence is called as abnormal cost. Your mother said you to boil the milk, you kept the milk on boil, and you started playing PUBG in your mobile, though it is banned, it's okay. You have downloaded pirated version and you started playing. In that case, instead of 250 ml, 600 ml got evaporated. That is your negligence. That is your mismanagement. Because of you, this thing has happened. Okay. So basically, this abnormal cost cannot be charged to customer. Only normal cost can be charged to customer. So what is normal cost? It is incurred the cost incurred during the production or is incurred at any level of output at any level of output is called as normal cost. This is going to be part of cost of production. Part of cost of production. If it becomes part of cost of production, it will be charged to customers. Charged to customers. Say recovered from customers. Customers. Next, abnormal cost. The cost incurred due to negligence or mismanagement. Cost incurred due to negligence or mismanagement is called as abnormal cost. It won't be a part of cost of production. It will be a part of, like you have one P&L account, right? It's a dumping yard P&L account. Every expense you go and dump it there. Like the same way we have here costing P&L account. Part of costing P&L account. If you anything which does not becomes part of cost sheet, it will become part of costing P&L account. This is borne by organization itself. Penalties are there. Okay, fines are there. Okay, these penalties and fines you cannot charge it to customer, right? Okay, so in this case, what you will do, these things you will charge it. You cannot charge it to customer, so you will only bear. So these type of expenses you will charge it to costing P&L account. They'll ultimately reduce your profit, my dear friends. Nothing more than that. They won't do other than anything other than that. Is it clear, everybody? These two. Shall we proceed further? If you want to have a glance, you can have a glance. If you have any doubt, you can ask me, or we'll proceed further.
Sir, once can you scroll up?
Yes, yes, yes. Sure. I'll wait for 1 minute. Those are writing, then write fast. Okay.
Done, sir.
Done? Perfect. Next, point number 4. Fourth classification on the basis of controllability. On basis of controllability. Okay. Here you are dividing the cost on the base of influence made by the management or influence by the action of one member or undertaking. Classification on the base of influence by the management. Classification on the basis of influence by management. So controllable cost, my dear friends, I can divide into two parts: controllable cost and uncontrollable or non-controllable cost or uncontrollable costs. Controllable costs, uncontrollable costs. Now, what do you mean by controllable cost? What do you mean by uncontrollable cost? Simple, my dear friends. The cost which can be influenced by the action of specific member of undertaking, okay, or anybody, there's a management, there are people in the management. If these management can influence that costs, those are called as controllable costs. Say, for example, you want to create black market in the society, okay, what you'll do? Simply, you'll reduce the production. You want to increase the demand in the market, what you'll do? You'll simply reduce the production. If you want to reduce the production, what you'll do? You'll reduce your direct labor cost, you'll reduce your direct material cost, you'll reduce your variable overheads cost. That's nothing but it is in the hands of management, right, to do this or not to do this. So such type of costs are called as controllable costs. The costs which cannot be controlled by the management, like rent. Rent can the management control? No, they cannot control. Okay. So such type of costs are called as uncontrollable costs. Now, let us write what is controllable cost and uncontrollable cost. You can give many examples, my dear friends, for controllable and uncontrollable cost. Controllable cost, research and development cost. If the company wants to stop, it can stop. Okay. Next, salary. It's an uncontrollable. You cannot just remove the employee just like that. Provident fund compliances, income tax compliances, TDS compliances, cost incurred for all these things are uncontrollable costs. Taxation, taxes paid, they are uncontrollable. Rent paid, it is uncontrollable. Depreciation of the machinery, it is uncontrollable. Okay. Controllable costs which can be influenced, which can be influenced by the members of the organization are called as controllable cost. Example, all direct costs. All direct costs are controllable costs. Like you take direct material, or you take direct labor, or you take variable overheads. All these are supposed to be controllable costs. Okay. Now, what is uncontrollable costs? Uncontrollable costs are those costs which cannot be controlled by the management, costs which cannot be influenced by the members of organization. Copy. paste, which can not be influenced by the members of the organization. Which can be influenced. Like say for example, all fixed costs, okay, are uncontrollable, like rent, managerial salaries, etc. Like rent, managerial salary, etc. There is no this specific way to determine what is controllable and what is uncontrollable, my dear friends. It just depends upon individual judgment. Okay, so for an individual person, rent might also be controllable. He might be some relative of that landlord owner. So even in that case, rent might be controllable. There is no issue. Okay, so it depends upon the individual judgment whether you want to classify something as controllable or uncontrollable costs. Okay, so basically, if you see in only short run, you will find uncontrollable. In long run, everything is controllable only. This point, I hope you have studied in your economics also. In long run, all costs are controllable costs. Like you might have seen in law of returns to scale, controllable costs. Only in variable proportions, you have something called as variable and fixed. So in
Yes,
long
sir.
run, all costs are controllable costs. There is nothing called as uncontrollable costs in long run. Okay. So this is your which type of classification? Fourth type of classification. Now let's go for fifth type of classification. On basis of relation with accounting period. On basis of relationship with accounting period, I can classify the costs into two types. So what are those two types? You already know this. That is capital and revenue cost. Okay. I can divide it into two costs: capital, capital costs, and revenue costs. There can be several classes. There can be several differences. What I can tell you for capital cost and revenue cost. Okay. What do you mean by capital cost? The cost which is incurred to earn income or increase the earning capacity of the business is called as capital cost. What do you mean by revenue cost? Revenue cost is something which is incurred to maintain the earning capacity of the business is called as revenue costs. Okay. This capital costs are something which give you benefit for long term. This revenue costs are something which give you benefit for short term. Okay. So basically, if you see only revenue costs are considered in costing. Okay. All capital costs are ignored in costing. You won't show capital costs in costing. Only depreciation you will show. Other than that, nothing will be shown. So what do you mean by capital cost? The cost which is incurred to purchase an asset. Cost incurred to purchase asset or to earn income or to increase cost incurred to purchase asset, either to earn income or to increase the income earning capacity or to increase the income earning capacity of the organization is called as capital costs. Revenue costs. What do you mean by revenue cost? The cost incurred to maintain the earning capacity of the concern. Costs incurred to maintain the earning capacity of the concern or of the organization is called as revenue cost. Okay. Now next, capital cost will not be part of costing, will not be part of Costing. Yes, this will be part of your costing. Part of costing. Okay, so you have a special dedicated chapter in your accounts, I guess, in foundation, the difference between capital expenditure and revenue expenditure. So I need
Yes,
not,
sir.
yeah. So I need not specifically go to these two things, right? So I hope these five classifications are clear. Any doubt in these five classifications?
Clear, sir.
Yeah. Now next, sixth classification we have already completed. Sixth classification is by degree of traceability to product. By degree of traceability to product. By degree of traceability to product, you have two types: direct costs and indirect costs. We have already done this. Direct cost is also called as prime cost. Next, indirect cost is also called as overheads. While discussing elements itself, we have done this. So let's not take this again. Next. Now, this classification, what I am taking now, is quite important classification, my dear friends. Point number 7. On the basis of planning, classification according to planning. Before starting this classification, let me wait for 1 minute. So let's proceed, my dear friends. So according to planning, next classification according to planning and control. According to planning and control, we divide the cost into two parts: budgeted costs and standard costs. Budgeted costs and standard costs. Now, as I said you, my dear friends, we have two types of two techniques in costing. Sorry, three techniques in costing. Those three techniques in costing are budget costing, budgetary control, standard costing, and marginal costing. These are three techniques of costing. Now, try to understand. Entire costing we divide into three parts. Okay, elements of costing, methods of costing, techniques of costing. Elements of costing are material, labor, and overheads. Okay. Next, methods of costing. Methods of costing means the way the cost sheet can be filled. So, what you're talking? Say, for example, certain process is going on. I want to calculate the value of process. How will I calculate? I'll calculate using process costing. This is a method of costing. There is a service sector. I can't use a normal cost sheet. I have to use a special cost sheet for that. How will I do that? For that, I learn operating costing. There's a construction going on for years together. How will I prepare cost sheet for this? That I learn in contract costing. Okay. There's a product which is going to be completed only in 3 to 4 months. How to account cost for this? But I'm going to learn in job costing. So in method of costing, it will tell us how to determine the cost of a particular thing. Okay, that is what you are going to learn in method of costing. Technique of costing. Techniques of costing help you in planning and control activities. I said you there are three techniques in costing: marginal costing, standard costing, budgetary control. These three techniques help you for planning and control objectives. So, what is planning and control? How this will help you? First, what is budgeted cost? Budgeted cost is also called as estimated cost. Okay, you are at the beginning of the year itself, you are trying to estimate the expenditure, you are trying to estimate the aggregate expenditure, what you are going to incur in your organization. It is called as budgeted cost. Standard cost, revised budget in terms of an actual, is called as standard cost. So what you're talking, revised budget in terms of an actual is called a standard cost. Say for example, my dear friends, let us assume that today at the night you have decided that tomorrow in 10 hours I'll study 100 questions. You have decided that tomorrow in 10 hours I'll study 100 questions. But at the end of the day, you studied only 60 questions. Did you perform well or did you perform worst?
Was
That we cannot say, my dear friends. That we cannot say. I'll tell you why. Try to understand. At the beginning, you at the night you thought that for 10 hours you'll study 100 questions. This is the budget what you have prepared. But actual is somewhat like this. You studied 60 questions. These 60 questions, my dear friends, you have studied in 4 hours. These 60 questions you have studied in 4 hours. So in this 4 hours, depending upon the budget, how much you should study, you have to study 40 questions. But how much you studied? 60 questions. Are you more efficient or are you less efficient? You are more efficient, my dear friends. Okay, we are not bothered why you haven't studied those rest 6 hours. There might be some medical emergency at your home. That's the reason you didn't study those 6 hours. Okay, so what you're doing this budget you are revising it in terms of an actual, that you call it as standard. This standard and actual will be compared. Budget and actual will not be compared. Now your mother cannot come to you and say, hey useless fellow, you said you'll study 100 questions, why the hell you would study it in 60 questions? She cannot say, because a person who must complete the work in 6 hours, he completed in 4 hours only. You have to do the work in 6 hours, you completed in 4 hours. You have to read only 40 questions. You read 60 questions, means you are working at 150% efficiency. You are working at 150% efficiency. You are working. So nobody can scold you, my dear friends. Okay. So standard costing, what we'll do is that we will revise budget in terms of actual. The revision of budget in terms of actual is called as standard costing. Budgeted costing, what you are doing, you are preparing something for the purpose of estimation. It's also called as estimated cost. Budgeted costing will be done in aggregate, that is in totality. Many budgets can be prepared. Raw material budget can be prepared, labor budget can be prepared, purchases budget can be prepared, sales budget can be prepared, expenses budget can be prepared, variable expenses budget can be prepared. Next, standard costing, you won't do all these things. You have direct material standards, direct labor standards, variable expenses standards, fixed expenses standards. That's it, only 4 things. Standard costing is basically used for the purpose of control. Here, your mom has done this standard costing in order to have a control on you, to check how much efficient you are. So standard costing is basically used for control purposes. Budgeted costing is something which is used for the purposes of estimation. Don't worry, my dear friends. Understand to the extent you can. In CMA Inter, you have an exhaustive chapters on the standard costing and budgeted costing. These two chapters together have a weightage of 25 marks in your CMA Inter. Standard, budget, marginal. These three chapters have a weightage of 35 marks. Okay, so the 35 marks, which I deal around in one and a half month. Entire 1.5 month, I'll explain standard, budget, and marginal only. Okay, that 1.5 month I cannot sum up in 10-15 minutes, right? So understand to the extent you can. Only one thing, budget cost is estimated cost, standard cost is revised budget in terms of actual. Many faculties itself, they don't know the difference between budget and standard sometimes. They think that budget and standard are same, but clear line of definitions are given in your material. That's right, budget cost. It represents an estimate of expenditure for different phases of business, different phases of business operations. These business operations can be manufacturing, administration, etc. Okay. To prepare various budgets, raw material budget, you'll prepare production budget, manufacturing budget, admin budget, many budgets you'll prepare, my dear friends. Okay. Next, revised budget. In terms of actual is called as standard. This is predetermined. This is also predetermined. Both are predetermined. Emphasis is on planning. Emphasis is on planning. Emphasis is on control. However, both help in cost control and cost reduction. Emphasis that there is something which helps in cost control and cost reduction. We call them as techniques of costing. Emphasis on control. Both planning and control, both the things will help you in cost control and cost reduction. They are aggregate in nature. They are particular in nature. Just have a glance, my dear friends. Let's go to the next classification of costing. Nonsense thing. Wait. One more point. Just write down. They are used in decision making. They are used in decision making. Again, we did not discuss this when we are discussing the techniques of costing. Have a glance fast. We'll go for eighth type. Next, eighth type. Eighth type, we have already done this, but also let's write it once again. Eighth one, on association with product. On association with product. On association with product, we can classify them into two parts. We have already done this, my dear friends. You will come to know where we have done. On association with product, I can divide it into two parts, product cost and period cost. If you remember, I said you all the fixed costs are called as period costs. All the variable costs are called as product costs. Something which goes into valuation of inventory, period costs, is called as product cost. Something which is not traceable with the product is called as period cost. That's right. Costs which are traceable to product and forms part of inventory valuation. Costs which are traceable to product and forms part of inventory valuation. Inventory valuation is called as product costs. Period costs, quite simple. Costs which are not traceable to product and change as time changes. The costs which are not traceable to product and change as time changes. As time changes, it's called as period costs. Okay. Generally, you treat it as expense and you'll transfer to P&L account. Treat it as expense. Just go and sit in P&L account. Useful expenditure. Useful only expenditure this is. Without this expenditure, where you will run? I didn't say useless. I said useful. Useless people. Copy fast. Copy fast. Next two classifications are there. After these two classifications, we'll be done with classification of costing. So that tomorrow I can take up this other things. No, still three are there. Not two, three are there. You can say, sir, some cost can form part of two or more heads. Yes, it can form. Who stopped? Like I'm saying, I'm classifying the students as boys and girls. And next I'm classifying them as day scholars and what we call hostelers. In hostelers, there may be boys, girls. In day scholars also, there can be boys, girls. Who stopped here? The cost can be part of more than one classification. There's no hard fast rule that it must sit always at one place. No, nothing like that. Next type of classification on the base of time. This is last classification. Rest classifications we'll do tomorrow. I don't want to eat your brain. Ninth one. On basis of time. On basis of time. On basis of time, we can divide them into two parts again. We can divide them as historical cost and predetermined cost. Historical cost, historical costs, and predetermined costs. What do you mean by historical costs? Historical costs are those costs which are incurred first, ascertained next. Okay, which are incurred first and ascertained next. These are called as historical cost. Okay, these costs are also called as sunk costs and they are not useful for any cost control purposes. Say for example, you want to start a business. You just won't go and start a business, right? You have to do a lot of groundwork. After doing a lot of groundwork, you came to know that you don't want to start a business. Later, for example, now you are doing CMA. In your 9th class and 10th class, your parents might have joined you in IIT coaching, JEE coaching, right? Now, what is the cost, all cost now? That is historical cost, that is sunk costs. Does it has any relevance for decision making now? They don't have
No.
any relevance for decision making. Okay, so such type of costs are called as historical costs. They do not hold any benefit for decision making. They are not used for cost control purposes. They are not used only. They are useless costs. Predetermined costs. Costs which are incurred before production is called as predetermined cost. Budget cost. What is your budget cost? They are predetermined costs only, right? These predetermined costs will be used to calculate standard cost, and these standard costs will be used for variance analysis. Sir, what is variance analysis? Variance means difference. See, you came to know that a particular person must produce 10,000 units in that particular month. That is the standard. But that person has produced only 7,000 units. You will ask him, right, why you are under efficient? What's your problem? Okay, that is called as variance analysis. So historical costs, these are costs which are uh, estimated after incurring. Costs which are ascertained after incur. Costs which are ascertained after incurring are called as historical costs. They are also called as sunk cost. They are of no use for cost control and decision making. And decision making. Costs which are estimated prior incurring. Costs which are estimated before incurring are called as predetermined costs. They are used in budgeting, variance analysis. Variance analysis you will do using the standard costing procedures. Okay, so these is on the basis of time. Next, you have two further classifications according to managerial decision, and there's that one more last one. According to functional classification and managerial classification. These two further classifications you have. These two further classifications we'll do in next session.